everybody. My name is Tom Wilkins. Welcome to the anniversary. It's the 109th actual candidate debates that we've had here in this room. What, third year? Anyway, we have a long legacy of debates. Thanks to Mr. Bob Driggers over here with the GGGG group, the Good Government. The Good Government group, and Bob has actually, on a serious note, he's been pretty sick lately with an upper respiratory cough he can't get rid of, and gone to several doctors, so we certainly pray for you. And speaking of praying, I would like to introduce my friend, my pastor, and a part-time bodyguard for the Mayor Hot Spring, Brother Carney.
Let's pray together and then we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. We love our country. And Father, we want our country to be the best it can be. And we just pray tonight that this meeting will help it to become the best it can be. We thank you for everyone that stepped up and stepped out and willing to run for office, and we ask you to bless them tonight as they share their hearts and their lives with us, and I pray that we will receive it well. We pray that all that is done tonight would bring you glory and bring you honor, and for all that you do for us, we'll give you the praise in Jesus' name. Everybody said? Amen. Let's pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you, Ken. I would like to welcome everyone here tonight and let you know that we will be conducting this event in the fairest way possible. Right, Bob? The Garland Good Government Group does not endorse anyone and will remain neutral. Right, Bob? Also being as transparent as possible, Bob and I, much like the City Board of Directors, have never once met to discuss GGGG business or to find a way to slant tonight's activities toward any particular candidate. By the way, Bob, I appreciate you buying me lunch today. Much like the City Board and the Chamber Downtown Focus Group, we will not allow anyone to speak other than the candidates. That ain't gonna happen. There's no way. We're allowing people to speak tonight, folks. However, we are gonna limit it. There will be an opportunity for one person, because we are under the time strait in this particular room, one person to ask a question to, in this case, either the candidates that are seated here. As far as the form itself, we ask that when you ask a question, we don't want you to get up and make a big dissertation. Get to the point, make your question, and if it's an opinion or something like that, we're going to edit you out, okay? Because I will say, please stop. And I would expect you to stop. Just get to the point is the main thing. Candidates will be given 4 minutes to introduce themselves and tell us why they are the best candidate for the position. I would also allow applause for the audience for anyone. Please limit it to 30 minutes per person. We will use the light system. Everybody loves the light system that Mr. Driggers has come up with back there. It is, when it's time to start speaking, you'll get the green light. Look at that. Everyone applaud, please. This is taking a lot of work. That's at 3 minutes. The green? Like I said, that's going to be at 3 minutes. The green light will be at 3. At 2 minutes? 3.5 minutes. Orange, that's yellow button. Okay, at 3.5 minutes into the speech, or the talk, the yellow light will go on, and so that leaves, what, 30 seconds to wrap it up before the red light comes out. See, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, and the only thing is, when you see that red light, candidates, all of you I'm speaking to, please stop. Just wind it up in a word or two, just end your sentence, or I will end it for you.
That's good, you're so healthy.
That's right. That's right. Read my blog online. We hope to. Gosh, I missed the whole page here. We we hope to be very transparent here today, and what I mean by that is we do want the candidates. I've been up in these situations here probably 30 times in the last few years, never to win a race, but at least I got to speak my mind. This is your time to say what you're about. This is your time to say what you stand for. Now, people out there are either going to like it or not like it. And I'm glad to see there's not only candidates here, but there's people from the community in general that are really concerned about our government. Because every year it seems like we have situations and problems in our government we just don't agree with. And so this is a chance for you to elect what you consider the right person for the right job. That's enough speaking for me. I'm going to go ahead and Clay, I want you to please get up here first. You're going to be, I just elected you to be the first speaker. Let's give Clay Herman, and this is for County Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator and fellow candidates and voters interested enough to come out to an event like this. Someone asked me recently why I was running. Why? Let me emphasize the why. Why was I running for public office? And I had to think and thought maybe it's because my mother dropped me on my head when I was a baby. It's not all fun to engage in a process like this, and I have renewed, increased admiration for all the candidates that are willing to throw their hat in the ring and participate in this kind of process. To run as an independent candidate, you have to do things a little differently, do a petition effort, and in my case, ended up needing 915 validated signatures for safety, ended up getting about 1,200. But there's a 90-day period to do that, ending March 3rd, and it wasn't going very well the first 2 months. I was way behind what I needed to get, and so I made a resolution to myself that I would go out every single day in February with a goal of getting at least 30 signatures to get what I needed to be safe on the ballot. And one of the places I went to was Central Avenue, early in the morning, I think it was, Waffle House, and had a cup of coffee and had my clipboard and my petition and some information flyer with me. And I saw a guy sitting down at the other end of the counter I was on and asked him the spiel I had been asking, are you a registered voter in Garland County? Or something to that effect. Yes, he was. Well, I happen to be a candidate for elected office in Garland County, and I'm working to get on the ballot as an independent and need to get signatures on my petition. And he seemed interested. He liked the idea of being independent and asked me, well, are you conservative or liberal? And I didn't want to lose the signature, but I thought I'd better answer honestly and said, I would probably be considered by most people that know me as being very conservative. And he looked downcast, and by his visage, I presumed that he was, and I asked, I presume that you're very liberal. And yes, but I said, but I bet you'll like what I intend to do if I get elected. And he came from one end over and sat there beside me and looked at this thing I have here, which you have there also. And I went through these items 1 through 4 and told him, these are the things I intend to do to maximize the transparency and the accountability in Garland County, make it a model like there has never been before in our county government of those items of transparency and accountability. Number 1, to televise and live stream and YouTube the quorum court meetings, YouTube archive. By the way, that's done now by the City Board of Directors, item number 1. Number 2 is to make public comment opportunities a prescribed part of the quorum court meeting agendas so that people can come in and have an opportunity to speak their mind. Number 3, advertise public hearings before passage of major legislation, which the absence of this going on is what actually was the tipping point that motivated me to get into this race in October last year. And to post the financials of the county on the official website of the county in understandable formats. I didn't decide to run for county judge because I think the incumbent is a bad person or even a bad county judge. He's a hardworking man. He has many admirable skills and qualities. He's been on the job training for over 3 years, and there's a lot to recommend him, and as I'm sure his lovely wife, Denise, would agree.
You're done.
Thank you.
Give him a big hand there. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? I'm going to entertain one question while Clay's still up here at the podium. Does anyone like to ask him a question? Will everybody raise their hand at once?
I'll ask a question.
Here's a question right here. Please stand up, sir. State your name.
My name's Reggie Callan, and my question is, do you have a special or certain agenda that you want to accomplish when you get in, if you get into office?
The 4 items I mentioned are not the entirety of what I would care to address. One of the additional items, which might be minor, is I'd like to see the county roads added to the GIS system so that anybody can go online and click and look at what is a county road, what's its status, is it definitely a county road, is it in dispute that it's a county road, or is it definitely a private road, so the people who are looking at that issue, which I deal with often as a real estate agent, real estate broker, can hopefully get an authoritative answer from an official county website in the future. That's one item that I would add to these things here. Another would be, I want to encourage people to be informed more than they normally are, and to vote based on making an effort to learn about the candidates. And I don't disrespect Judge Davis. I respect him a lot. There's some points that I want to do things differently than he is motivated to do them. And as county judge, I think I would do a good job. I think in all the areas that the county judge has responsibility for, which are vast, I would have a learning curve too, and I would need to be on the fast track to learn the things that I need to do to manage things well.
Okay.
And you can read about Judge Davis on my website, because I think enough of him that I put a link to your campaign website on my campaign website. So go to clayherman.com and you can click and go to Judge Davis' site as well.
Judge Rick Davis.
Don't start that timer till I wave at you. I hate the revelation. First, let me start by thanking all of you here for your past support, and what I'm here tonight to is to ask you for your support in the rest of my term and in the November election. I'm running for re-election for another 2-year term to finish some work that's been started and to see some projects through. I want to continue the progress and want to evaluate the effectiveness of some changes that I've made since I've been in office. I want to continue to watch over the final construction and the bond repayment to see that it goes away. I mean, I'm just like you guys. I want to see that 5/8 cent sales tax go away. And if collections continue, it will happen sometime around the end of my next term. It's important to me that you know that I am still not just a run-of-the-mill politician. You know, I've worked very hard to keep politics out of the courthouse. I serve every one of you equally. The rules are the same for everybody. It doesn't make any difference to me. I sometimes have to remind people of that fact from time to time. I'm known for telling it like it is and being accessible to the people that hired me, which is you, the voters. I will continue to bring my knowledge and experience with business principles and infrastructure, common sense, a willingness to work with others, truthfulness, and integrity to the office of county judge. Because my time is very limited, let me make an important point. I've been here hearing that my opponent's camp is criticizing me on a few issues. I don't have time to address each of these issues tonight, but I will be happy to discuss anything with anyone at any other time. I will also be posting accurate, correct information on my website at higherdavisjudge.com, which is the same website that I had in 2010. And right now, I'm more concentrating on doing the job than I am running for the job. So the information will be on there very soon. What I will say is when you hear accusations about things that I have supposedly done and things that I have supposedly not done, please give me a call. Or you can email me at rickdavis@higherdavisjudge.com to obtain the correct information, or as Paul Harvey says, the rest of the story. So, as always, I'm going to tell you the truth. You may not like what I tell you, but I'm not going to lie to you. I have no reason to lie to you. I would urge I would urge people to educate themselves about the duties and responsibilities of the county judge in relation to the accusations that's being put out there. What I've heard so far are issues, decisions, and actions that either fall to the quorum court or to other elected officials, over which really I have no control or very little control. But whatever. Please research all the candidates, and I'm not talking about just this race. Research every candidate that you're going to walk into that booth and vote for. Make sure you're educated about who you're voting for, and then let your conscience make that choice. I'm sure my time is about up. I apologize for needing to speak first and then leave, but I have another commitment at 6 o'clock with the 4-H kids. I hope to come back and visit with you again, and in yellow lights. In the meantime, please feel free to call me. And as I look out here, most of you probably have my cell phone like everybody else in Garland County. Again, thank you for your support, and I will be honored to get your vote again in November. Thank you.
Does anyone have a question? Anyone have a, Dr. Sternberg?
Okay, Dr. Jack Sternberg, Chairman, Tea Party. Thank you, by the way, for what you've already done for the county. My question is, the 4 points that Clay made seem very reasonable. So the question I have of you is, will you implement these? And if not, what?
Well, I mean, I guess I don't have his list here. Number one, how many of you out here read the end of the year settlement statement? Raise your hand. We got one, we got two, and then they're both accountants and treasurer. I kind of choose my battles of there's a lot of issues that I have to deal with that I think is very important. If everybody in this room would have raised their hand about the end of the year settlement statement, then I think that's something we ought to do. But because 1 or 2 people say that this is an important issue to them, I'm not willing to fight that battle right now. I got other things that I need to focus on. The reality is that's in the hands of another elected official. It goes through the cycle. Yes, I review that. Does the normal person understand that if you're not an accountant? No. But it's put together by an accountant. And there's other forms and criteria that we have to go through by state law. So if we go to another form system, is the public going to truly understand that? Probably not. So I'm not willing to push that issue right now. I think the other elected officials doing a great job. So it's going through its process just like the state law says we have to. The next one, televising the meetings. County government's not set up like city government. Our quorum court meetings, all the work's done in a committee type setting. If people want to come have input, they need to do it during that process. A lot of times our quorum court meetings won't last 30 minutes because it's already settled, things are done. They need to be involved in the committee process. And besides that, television is going to be a decision that the quorum court will make, and it's not mine. I may agree with them about, with one way or the other, and I don't know how they all feel about it. But that's something that needs to come up to them.
Okay, I saved you on the last one.
What was the last one?
Go to your website and you'll answer the.
We'll answer. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's thank both of our candidates here. Judge Davis has to leave, but I'm sure that you will be around, Clay, to answer any questions after this. Okay, Garland County Sheriff, is anyone running for this? I would ask the following people to please come here. And as they do, I would like to recognize also the Honorable Mayor Carney, Ruth Carney. I forgot to do that earlier. Ruth, stand up, please. Okay, here's where I would like for you to sit. On the end, Scotty Dodd. Ronnie next to him. Fred here on my right. Tom, Rodney, and Mike McCormack on the end down here. Just come on up real quick, please. So Scotty, Ronnie, Fred, Tom, Rodney, Mike. Just sit down. I'm talking to future sheriffs, I need to be careful here. Okay, we're gonna, for no reason other than I believe it's alphabetical order, we're gonna start with Scotty. Scotty, come on up and.
Tom, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come up here and listen to what we had to say. My name is Scotty Knight, and I am a Republican. I am running for the candidacy of Garland County Sheriff. I'm a lifelong resident here in Garland County. I've been in law enforcement 37 years. Started my career here at Talk Springs PD in 1976 and left to go to the state police in 1985. Been there ever since, still working today. I worked in every aspect of law enforcement, from patrol to CID, investigating major crimes, narcotics, SWAT, and negotiation teams. I am a certified officer and also a certified instructor and teach part-time for the Criminal Justice Institute, University of Arkansas. The fourth generation of law enforcement in this county, in this city. My great-grandfather, grandfather, and father, who have all put in over 20 years of service here in this city. I would appreciate your support to be your next sheriff in 2015. My wife is here with me tonight. We've been married 39 years. We dated prior to that, so we've been together for a total of 43 years. We have 2 children by birth, 2 other children by marriage, and 3 grandchildren. Family is very important to me. As sheriff, I'll make sure that the deputies there who are working now and who work under me in the future will work and respect each citizen in Garland County. The deputies and myself work for each member of Garland County. We work for you. We don't work for any party. We don't work for any individual. We work for the citizens of Garland County. You have a lot of good deputies at the sheriff's office right now. There needs to be a bunch more. They still operate this time with the same number of people on the street they had back in 1997. On a good day, you have 5 deputies on the street. If anybody's on vacation, that cuts it to 4. If somebody's off sick and on vacation, that puts it to 3 deputies patrolling the whole county. That's not enough deputies to provide the service that you, as citizens of Garland County, deserve. Can I promise you I can hire 20 or 30 more deputies? No, I can't. Can I promise the deputies that I can give them a $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 a year raise? No, I can't. But I can promise you this. I will work every day at 110% to provide more deputies for the street, to provide more deputies in the criminal division, to provide the service that each and every Garland County citizen that lives here and each and every person who comes into Garland County to visit us deserves. I want to work closely with the county judge and the quorum court. Those are the people who make the decisions for any division in Garland County. Without them, you can't get along. You can't do anything. I also want to start a program for the citizens of Garland County to have classes for them to attend, to get them aware of what's going on in the sheriff's office, to let them listen to each and every division in the sheriff's office, from patrol to CID, Marine Patrol, the Mounted Patrol, the Jail Division, Adult and Juvenile. The citizens have to know what the sheriff's office does. Have to have an opportunity to come in and see what the sheriff's office does. To come in and sit and listen to each division. To ride with the deputies. To listen to the radio, to see what kind of traffic they have. To see what's going on. Without the support of the community, your sheriff's office is lost. The reserve program is a good program, a great program that they have to draw back on, but you can't count on reserves to fulfill the deputies on the street all the time. It's a great opportunity we have to use, but it's not something we can have constantly. But again, I would like to take your support on May 20th, and again in November if I win the election. And thank you all for attending tonight.
Okay, I'm going to entertain one question right there.
Are you familiar with Oath Keepers?
Big pardon?
Are you familiar with Oath Keepers?
No, I'm not.
Okay, Oath Keepers is an organization of officers elected, military, police, and so on, who swear and take an additional oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States and not to violate it by taking our weapons, our food, our homes, or anything else that rightfully belongs to us. And I cannot support anybody who will not swear to the Oath Keepers.
Are you asking me if I'm gonna come and take your weapons away from you?
Yes, sir.
I'm not gonna surrender my weapon. I'm not gonna come ask somebody for their weapon. Under our Constitution, the Second Amendment, each and every individual has a right to bear an arm. Unless you are a convicted felon, then you don't have a right.
There's more to it than that. Our federal government may overstep their bounds and order you to take our weapons, our homes, our extra food, everything that we've got, they're trying to steal. And you, as the sheriff, have more rights and more ability to resist these unconstitutional efforts than anybody in law enforcement in the United States of America. And if the sheriffs won't swear to the Oath Keeper and swear to fully and faithfully uphold the Constitution and everything in it, they don't deserve to be in office.
Okay. All right. I appreciate your comments. Please don't give me your opinion. Give me the question. Okay? I just asked that humbly.
I apologize.
That's okay. I understand the passion behind it. And I would like, so we don't get the same person asking the same question to every candidate, I would like everybody up here to know that you have been asked that question. And you may want to incorporate it in your answer. If you don't, that's on you. All right? Ronnie Dunn. Ronnie?
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ronnie Dunn, and I've lived in Garland County the majority of my life. Graduated from Fountain Lake High School. I'm currently employed as a process engineer with General Cable Corporation at Jones Mills, Arkansas. I've had management positions for the last 34, 35 years, working for General Cable, Pirelli Cable Corporation, and Reynolds Metals Company. I'm also a part-time court security officer for Circuit Court. At the present time, I was full-time for 8 years, and I was a sergeant in Garland County Reserves for 10 years. Now, the main reason that I'm running for sheriff, which is an elected administrative position, in the state of Arkansas, you do not have to be a law enforcement officer to be elected sheriff. But I do have a law enforcement background, but the sheriff is basically an administrative position, and that's what we've been sorely lacking in the last few years. My goal is to put accountability and responsibility back into the Garland County Sheriff's Department. I understand that we need training, and I understand that we need responsibility to the citizens of this county, because the Sheriff's Department works for the citizens. They don't work for a city board, excuse me. They work for the citizens of this county, and they need to be held accountable by the citizens of this county. Now, my goal as sheriff will be to increase patrols in the rural areas. And what does that mean? That means that I want deputy sheriffs out patrolling rural areas, not on city streets and state highways. I want more of involvement. I want them into the community. I want them working areas where they get to know the people in their area. They give them their cell phone number. We all work together. It's a matter of priority. If we're gonna go after the drug and crime problem in this county, then we need to concentrate on the county. The city has a lot of involvement in their street crimes unit, and the DTF does a fine job, but they're limited. I believe in utilizing the resources of the Garland County Sheriff's Department. You know, in management positions, you're always looking for better ways to do things with less money and less people, because that's the way things are nowadays. And you have to put more responsibility on people to do more. But also, when you reorganize and restructure, you can free up some of these structures. You don't have to go down through a strict military procedure of sergeants, lieutenants, corporals. You know, it's everybody's in this game. If you utilize everybody at the Sheriff's Department, you're going to use a lot more people. Now, I also want to cooperate with the court systems. You know, we've had these escapes lately, and we've had escapes through the jails for a long time. I believe in cooperating with the court system. The Sheriff's Department has failed to cooperate with the courts. And I want the sheriff's responsibility as the chief law enforcement of this county. He's also the bailiff of the court system. And that second part has been lacking in the last few years. I also want to work with the courts on their drug rehab programs and try to free up people out of these jails. We're incarcerating a lot of people that have mental issues and drug problems that the community as a whole can get involved in. And basically, my concern is the community itself. We have a lot of good people at the Sheriff's Department. We have a good reserve program, but we also have people on the books as deputy sheriffs that are not qualified, should not be on there, and it frees up, getting rid of them, frees them up.
You've been
Thank you.
Okay, does anyone have a question? Yes, Ms. Murray. Third. Sorry.
What is your personal opinion about juveniles that commit adult crimes? Real short.
They should be held accountable as adults.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, where am I at here? Fred, it's your turn.
Thank you, Tom. Again, thank all of you for coming tonight. I am Fred Hawthorne, Republican candidate for Garland County Sheriff. Also lifelong resident of Garland County. Been in law enforcement 25 years, 20 of it right here with Garland County Sheriff's Department. We do have a problem at the Sheriff's Department. That problem is, 97, we had 5 officers on the street. We were able to patrol neighborhoods. Today, we have 5 officers assigned to a shift. We have 3 times the calls, 3 times the reports. They're running from call to call. We've got to change that. When you have a problem, you have to have a solution. The start of the solution is that we have a large talent pool of retired officers in this county. Many of them are sitting at home, especially the men. The wives want them out. They've already been retired a few years. They want them out of the house for a while. I've talked with numerous officers, not only retired from the city, county, and state and federal in this area, but officers that are retired here from other agencies across the nation. We have retired homicide investigators that have received training and knowledge that's way above what we've been allowed to have here in this county, our city, just due to the amount of money that the larger cities have. Arson investigators and many, many other crimes. These people are willing to come in, be reserve deputies. They don't want to be in a uniform on the street, but they want to help in CID, our Criminal Investigation Division. Use their knowledge. Just because they're too old that they don't want to be in a uniform on the street doesn't mean that they're not well trained. An extreme amount of knowledge is going to waste that we're not tapping. We've got to tap into that. We have got to bring them in there. When we have a major homicide, these guys are trained in that. Call them out. Let them go with us. If we have 20 of them, they put in 5 hours a week. That's 100 free hours. They're going to get more involved. They start putting in 10. You got 200 free hours a week. It's a lot of man saving, a lot of hours saving. Then our young reserves, we're down, I talked to one of the reserves the other day, we're down to 12, 13 officers. We used to have 30 to 40. One problem is they require 24 hours a month. It's too much for a young person that has a family at home and trying to volunteer in the community also and work a full-time job. Cut it to 16 and get 3 times as many officers. We can take these older reserve officers to help train them, our own officers help train them. I am all about training. I started the Hot Springs Police Department, was fortunate enough, they had more money, received much better training. The county doesn't have that, we're still training. We've got some good officers in our department. A little guidance needed here and there, but we can give them that guidance. I believe in teamwork. I don't believe in I can't run a department. We can run the department together. I'm going to create a think tank. The think tank's going to be made up of officers and civilians. This think tank is going to be the community. This is where the community and the officers work together. We are going to put solutions from the community brings into us. We're going to work solutions and find them. The problems aren't ours at the department, courts. They're ours as a community. We need to work together between law enforcement and community to solve the problems of our community. Mindsets is our biggest problem. Not the drugs. We need to change people's mindsets and get them off of welfare and get them off of drugs. That's what we've got to do to change our community. We can't just change it by arresting them all and put them all in jail. We've got to work with programs to change the people. We got to take our neighborhoods back. I'm at 3.5 minutes. I got to cut it short. But we've got to take our neighborhoods back. We can't do it law enforcement alone. We've got to train you to help us. We will do that through many different programs. Budgets, there's 8 or 9 budgets going in the county sheriff department, depending on where we have grants going or not. Our team will work together to work on the budget, not one person. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I'll entertain questions.
Okay, the gentleman back there, please stand up. Tell us your name, please.
Yes, I will. Don Morphew. I used to work with the Sheriff's Department. Corporal Hawthorne, as you know, deputies of the Garland County Sheriff's Department or any other county are appointed. Okay, let's think about this.
Okay, could you ask a question?
I'm about to ask a question, but it needed to be prefaced.
Okay.
Are you going to keep all the current deputies that are on staff with the Garland County Sheriff's Department? And if not, why not?
As of January 1st, yes, I'm not going to fire anyone. I'm looking at now putting everyone, because I as a sheriff am on probation for 2 years. Every election, you're on probation. I believe to put these officers on probation, we will set guidelines for them to go under. If they can't meet those guidelines, whether they're just officers or whether they're at the top, that's from the chief deputy on down, then they will have to hunt better employment elsewhere. Thank you.
All right, is Tom in the room? Tom, anyone would like to speak for Tom other than these people up here?
Sure.
Okay, you'll share. Okay, Rodney?
I'll do it. I'm Rodney Neighbors. I am a retired lieutenant from the Sheriff's Department. I retired 4 years ago. A lot of things everybody's been talking about up here is things that we've gone through in the past. I was a training officer for the last 18 years. Training is my big thing. You can only do so much as a lieutenant because the sheriff, you know, and they have ultimate control over that. So as a sheriff, I can do a little bit different that way. I don't believe that the people are at the sheriff's office is getting the proper training under some of the things going on. So that needs to be changed. It will be changed. Now, everybody says, I guess, start off wrong. Everybody's So they're a lifelong member of Garland County. I mean, I was born here at St. Joe Hospital. I moved away because my parents wasn't very smart. I mean, I was only 3, but anyway. As soon as I graduated, I moved back. I went to the military. I'm a Vietnam War vet. And I am a firm believer in the Second Amendment right, people to keep and bear arms, to the point where I am a certified state instructor on the concealed handgun license, and I instruct citizens to carry weapons for their protection. So, no, I won't take your gun away from you. You can take my class, though. One of the things is everybody's talking about putting the budget and doing different things. One of the things that the Sheriff's Office has, their budget is outlined in a JSAP program. And it's JESAP, and it's, I'll give you all how that acronym works, but I forgot to write it down. That's pretty good for one that started the program. So my future chief deputy sitting here will also be a first for Garland County. It's a female, Judy Daniels. She is going to be my chief deputy. She's a very knowledgeable person. She worked with me for 15 years, and I trust her, and you have to have somebody you can trust behind you. But one of the things that we did was we had to write every program or every position in the Sheriff's Department, we had to write up a requirement that you have to fill that position. So you get a number of positions, and you get a point system like the government has, like G17 or whatever, and that gives you your pay grade. They're not getting it right now. So problem is you've got to work with Quorum Court to get that going. We got people in the jail right now working that are on food stamps. They can't afford milk for the kids, and that's just not right. First of all, we got to get our people's salary up in a certain way, and cutting budgets or however you have to do it, you got to take care of your people. Now, you know, that's just not fair. They're held on a higher pedestal because every time something on the news that goes wrong, you know, it's all over the news, but they're not getting to pay for it. We need to work with that. And actually, I'm fixing to get beat too, so anyway, I'll be through here, and you know, thanks for the time, and thanks for everybody coming out. Appreciate it.
George?
No, I appreciate the comments, and many of you gentlemen said the same thing, but, you know, we always hear the issue that we're going to do better if we have more pay. There's some Quorum Court members sitting here. I sat on the Quorum Court for 2 years. I could say exactly the same thing to rank and file in every job in the county today, and there is no money unless if you get elected, if you can come up there and tell us how to do it, I think that they'd be welcome that. But it's blue sky to say that we're going to have to pay these people more money. We've already created a hornet's nest with what we're trying to do with jailers, the way we've done that. So I don't care which one of y'all speak. None of you have a chance of getting more money unless you can figure out how to raise it.
I understand that.
So how do you propose to raise it?
Well, I'm hoping that the new jail, I'm hoping the way that is set up for that, it will generate a little extra money. So if that, I mean, you've got to cut back on things to get certain things. I'm just saying you have to have priorities. And I plan to implement a zero-based budgeting. Now, I don't know if you know what that means, but instead of having, you know, we got 27,000 last year, I need 10% raise, it don't go that way. You start off at zero, and you tell me why you need money. I ain't going to be popular with it, but it's going to get done. Thank you.
Mike McCormack. Mike?
I'm really pleased with the quality candidates that we've got running for sheriff, and I've got to say right up front, I agree with 95% of everything that's been said so far this afternoon. My name is Mike McCormack, and I am the independent candidate for Garland County Sheriff. I will not be on the May 20th primary. However, I will be on the ballot for the general election on November the 4th. Let me give you a little bit of history about myself, if I may. For most, with the exception of a year or two of my adult life, I've lived in Hot Springs, and I've worked very hard towards making Hot Springs and Garland County a safer place. My career actually started in 1982 as a jailer at the sheriff's office. I was hired by Clay White. Shortly thereafter, I was hired by the police department. And during the next 30 years, I worked my way up the ranks at the police department. I started as a patrol officer, was promoted to corporal, then sergeant, then lieutenant, and then captain. And during my term as captain, I served as interim chief to the police department prior to Chief Flory coming on board. That's given me a unique perspective that the other candidates, I believe, do not have. I spent a good portion of the last 6 or 7 years in an administrative role. I have created a $10 million plus budget that the police department operates on. I was the primary person that administered the budget. I also, during the last portion of my career, was responsible for personnel issues, general maintenance issues, car issues. And I believe that gives me a little bit of a better perspective. Because the majority of the work that the sheriff does is administrative. I've got the street experience, but I've also got the administrative experience. We can't change the past, but we can learn from it. And that's exactly what I plan on doing. There has been some issues at the sheriff's department, as we're all aware. We can't change that at this point, but we can learn from the mistakes that have been made, and we can make better judgment calls in the future. There's also been a lot of good things that have occurred at the sheriff's office, and we need to keep those in mind also and see if we can build on them. One of the first things I will do after taking office on the 1st is do a complete review of the department. I'm talking all departments, CID, patrol, administration, detention. I'm going to review every employee. I don't anticipate terminating anybody either when I first start, but I will hold every single employee of the sheriff's office accountable for their actions. I've got a rule of 3 that I have gone by for many years when I'm trying to make a decision on a particular issue. Number 1, is it ethical? Is it moral? Is it legal? If it meets all 3 of those criteria, we move forward with it. I believe it's crucial to maintain a disciplined work environment. That is one thing that increases morale. I see I'm running out of time, so I'll close this, and I'll say it in very few words about what I stand for. I stand for law and order, and I stand for law and order under the United States and the Arkansas Constitution, and ask for your vote to make Garland County a safer place.
Okay, yes sir, go ahead.
Same guy, John Moore. Mr. McCormack, do you foresee any type of a fitness and ability program being established for the Garland County deputies? Fitness and ability program.
Repeat that one more time for me.
Do you foresee anything toward a fitness and ability program for the Garland County deputies when you're sheriff?
Absolutely. In fact, during my final year within the police department, I was working very hard towards that. It's a situation that you have to implement on a slow basis. We have people that go the full spectrum of physical fitness at the Sheriff's Department, from extreme fitness to extreme unfitness. And I will be working very hard in a structured, formalized way to get everybody on board. Absolutely, yes. Thank you.
I agree with what was said here recently. Don't we have a great bunch of candidates up here? Due to my Gestapo type moderation skills here, don't take it personally if I cut you off. I'm just trying to keep things moving. And in that same vein, Bob told me that we have several minutes now that we could ask some questions because I'm so good at what I do. So I want to open up any questions you want to have to any of the candidates here. We got a couple minutes here, we can entertain those. They will be limited. This is your chance, Ms. Thurman.
Thank you. This would be to all the candidates, if possible. Would you like to be like Joe Arpaio, if possible?
Okay. The question is, would you like to be like Joe from Arizona, the sheriff, and his techniques and whatnot? Okay, you have, if you grab that right there, gentlemen, just that microphone, that's the microphone. Grab that and just talk into that, and I'll give you maybe 30 seconds to answer.
Okay, I really can't answer your question honestly with you. I don't know what all his procedures and policies are. I don't know what all the state requirements and policies are. I do feel like that the inmates now have more freedom than what they need, as far as TV, with all the channels, as far as visitation twice a week, as far as writing letters at any time they want to. I think it does not need to be a 3-star hotel that they're staying in. I think there needs to be some accountability for their action, what they've done, and limitations on what they are granted privilege be cut way back to what the bare minimum is.
Okay.
I agree with Scotty on a lot of the issues. Some of the things that he does is borderline, and I don't think we really need to implement a lot of programs that's not going to help us. We've got the new detention center, and we've got good programs in place. And if it got down to the point where we had to have a tent city, we'd probably be overran here. But I don't see any implementation of that. Now, I can see I'm not interested in making a 5-star hotel, no. But I do believe that we have to treat people with respect also that are incarcerated.
Some days I probably agree with him more than you know. We have a great jail being built. I've been working with our new chief deputy over detention. The programs we're going to do will really, really help. But to answer direct on that question, so many times people will say you need a tent. They forget that our officers have to work in the same conditions the inmates living in. The officers have to work in a tent also, the inmates living in a tent. Arkansas is not weather related to have that type of jail. Sometimes I say it's unfortunate, because sometimes I would like that. But putting them all in jail is not solving our problem. We've got to find ways to turn them around. Some of them will never turn around. They need the tent.
Okay, one of the things about Joe is that he does things out there, and a lot of it gets some attention and things that he does. A lot of the times they spend more money on fighting lawsuits than what they benefit by what they're doing. I've also been out to the new jail. It's a great facility, and what they're doing out there, it looks great as far as security for the officers and everything. Can be a great working environment.
When I started working for the sheriff's office, I worked in the detention center. We on an average had, maybe 30, 40 people we housed a day. And that included juveniles, females, everybody else that was in there. Now, it was set up to hold 88. They increased it when the PD shut their jail down and they moved over there. Now it's capable of holding, I think 185 or 190, something like that. Well, they're averaging around 250 a day. So you can see where the problem is with that, and I don't see anything other than the new jail, which we've gotten, thankfully, going through and it's been completed. That's the only way we can do it.
It would be easy to say yes to that, but I really don't believe it's that effective. I think we need to have a punishment side, and I think we need to have a rehabilitation side also. What we have been doing, as far as I can remember in my life, has not worked. It's not working now. It wasn't working last year or 10 years ago. Throwing people in jail, the concept, I understand it, and yes, it's appealing sometimes, but it doesn't achieve the overall goal that we want to achieve. And what we want to achieve is making the United States a safer place to live. And there's got to be the deterrent, but there's got to be the real rehabilitation. So as far as that particular situation, I wouldn't be interested in it in Garland County. There's more effective ways.
Okay. It's down the hole and to the left. I'm sorry, you want to ask a question? Go ahead.
Ken Carney, are all of you committed to working with faith-based rehab units to help rehab the ones that are there, or are you against faith-based rehab units?
Please go ahead and start, Scotty, if you'd like to answer. And keep your answers, we're getting close on time.
You've got to work with rehab programs here in the county. We've got what I call a revolving door in our jail system, and that's all over the country. We do not need a revolving door, people coming in, staying, receiving free food, free housing, free clothes, free medical care. We have a lot of organizations in town that we can utilize to try to rehabilitate the people, to get some rehabilitation. Some people, that's going to work great on. Some will fall right into it and start their life over the day someone says, I will work with you. Other people, it might take a longer period of time. And some people, you never will be able to get them completely changed. But you've got to work with them. We don't need to house people in a jail that's cost us $42 million to keep inmates in there that are violating laws that we know are never going to change. So yes, your answer is I'm willing to work and want to work strongly with organizations in town to help the people who are willing to change.
The detention center is a detention center. It's not a prison. The courts sentence people to prison for rehab, for punishment, not detention centers. They're housed till they go to court and they're sentenced to prison or they're released, whichever, or they remain bond. And it's not a rehab center. But I do believe in working with faith-based church groups, drug programs, alcohol, and most of the issues that we have in detention centers are mental issues, and a lot of times because they're self-medicating. But we need to keep the criminals in jail, and we need to try to help rehab people on the outside, but it's just a detention center.
Want to answer your question directly, 100%. I did not realize the mass number, and I say mass number because it's a large percentage, and I realize that the people are being changed by the faith-based programs. My wife and I attended 2 services where Judge Owens spoke, and he is very pushy on going to the faith-based. 1, it saves the county much money. 2, it's the only true program that changes the people's mindsets and get them to be productive people. I talked to Judge Owens, met him in my office at the Sheriff's Office, and I said, Judge, I'm going to tell you straight up, all the officers feel like you're just sending these people to some program. We're not seeing the results. You need to come and tell us these results. I was astounded at it, and I'm extremely pleased with it. We need to push it more. I went to our church and said, guys, we need to get involved in this. We don't have enough churches involved in it, and I'm not sure how many are, but until we have 100% of the churches involved, it's not enough.
Yeah, I believe in it totally. I'm a very active member of Pleasant Hill Baptist Church. We have the Samaritan Men's that we serve in town. One of the things I think we need to do when we start talking about that, I think we need, instead of talking, we need to get on the lower level. We need to do more for the juveniles, keep them out of working their way on up. I talked with one of the judge candidates, and he talked about the FINS program, how much was being involved with that. And I really think that, you know, something like that, we need to catch them when they're a little younger and start there along with, the, you know, the adults do it the same way, you know. But you got to get them when they're younger and break that cycle of parent-child, away completely. You know, when things happen, they look at it as a normal cycle. I went to the University of Arkansas to the Be a Winner program and was the first one to teach the anti-drug program here in Garland County to all the schools. And I was surprised when I started teaching that, how many of these kids knew so much more about these drugs than I did. And it was because of home life, and that's got to stop.
And that falls right into the last answer that I gave. The faith-based rehabilitation is critical, but there's got to be more. I think it's part of the overall effort. But yes, very more. I'd be very supportive.
Okay, I've just been graded a 5-star because we're back on time. So let's thank everybody here again. I'm sure they will all stay around. They'll stay around for any conversation you might wish to have. Okay, it looks like we're down to Garland County Treasurer, Tim Stockdale and Mark Toth. Come on up, gentlemen. Mark, stay standing. You just come right over here and you can start.
I'm going to shake Tim's hand.
Shake mine first. Oh, really? This is your opponent?
Thank you for inviting me. I have to apologize. You actually have to listen to me talk. I'm not a very good public speaker, but I am a person who can focus on details. I've been doing accounting and bookkeeping work for over 20 years. I'm the type of person who obsesses over that last penny and tracking it down and making sure all the accounts balance. And that's what this job is. How many of you know what the treasurer's job is? I've got a few hands. He's the county banker. He writes the checks and he provides an account statement to every department on how they're doing. That's the first part of the job. And that's the minimum part of the job. And I can do that job. I do it all the time. But the treasurer can do more. The treasurer should go to every quorum court meeting to be available to answer questions. Tim, after 3 years, is finally doing that. The treasurer should go to all the finance committee meetings because that's where the decisions regarding finances are made. And if I'm elected from day one, I will be going. Tim doesn't go to all of them. I think it's been 3 years, right?
We'll have time for rebuttal in a second.
But the treasurer also has a role in explaining to people about the budget. One thing you've heard a lot about this evening is about finding money. How many of you know that because the new jail is opening and they have money set aside from that sales tax to pay to run the jail, that frees up $1.8 million of the general fund? Most people don't know that. The treasurer, it's not the treasurer's job to decide how that money's spent. And I'm not going to make those decisions because that's not the treasurer's job. But the treasurer should be able to go out and tell people this money's available, talk to your JPs, talk talk to the judge, decide where you want that money spent. Do you want it on roads? Do you want it in the fire departments? Do you want it in law enforcement? That's part of the treasurer's job too, and that's something else I will do. I'm finished. I don't have a lot to say. I've laid out what I'm going to do. If you have some questions, I'll take it.
Let me first recognize someone. Anybody have a question? Yes, go ahead.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things that is being looked at the county is the hiring of a comptroller. Is that something that you feel could be brought under the purview of the treasurer's office?
In my view, that is what the treasurer is.
So if you were elected treasurer, you wouldn't see a need for a comptroller?
You're audited by the state. It's always a year behind or two. So there is no reason to hire an extra person. You know, why spend money in the treasurer's office when that money could be spent hiring a deputy, hiring someone to do work out in the community? You've got a staff, you're audited every year, you've got oversight from the judge and the JPs. So no.
Okay. Since he went a little bit short in his speech, we got time for one more question. Lady in the red back there. Please stand up and tell us your name.
Pat King, and my thing with, I've said it to the state guy, are you willing to put the county checkbook online and the budget online so any citizen wanting to see what's going on can go and look at a check and see, you know, you wrote a check to for.
Do you want us to spend a lot of money doing that?
You don't have to. You can integrate it.
Everything costs money. Okay, and I understand the desire for transparency. Government accounting is very complicated. It's not straightforward. It's not like your own budget. You got grants, you got to have the paperwork in place. You've got state requirements. You've got federal requirements. It sounds simple to put every check up online so people can read it, to put the budget up online. The budget is online, and it's done like a government budget. And you saw when they asked how many people have read it and know what it understands, 2 of us raised our hands. Because it is complicated, but the treasurer should be available to answer questions. That's about all you can really ask, unless you want to pay a lot of money to have that done. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good use of scarce resources.
Not a picture, just check.
Again, that still would take time and money to do.
Okay, thank you. All right, Tim?
I'm Tim Stockdale, I'm your county treasurer. Took office January 1st, 2011. A little background about my wife, Brandy, is here with me this evening. I spent 21 years in the military, retired in 2004. And my last 10 years I was in the National Guard, and which time I worked as a manufacturing engineer at Solfac and Jet at Little Rocks, and retired as a team leader in the manufacturing engineering department. But while I was working there, I was mayor of Fountain Lake for 3 years. I was on the city council for 2 years. And of course, that's a lot of work, as Mayor Carney can attest to, and that's for no pay. But I did it because I wanted to give back to the community. In the job that I'm in now, I'm not an accountant. I have a degree in organizational management. And the way I look at it is I look at better ways to operate the office to make it more efficient. We've done a lot of things as far as transparency is concerned, like Pat mentioned. I was going to put our information on the county website, but I was going to have to pay $500 to put it on there. Well, I went to Henderson State University, and they offered a 1-day free class on how to build a website. So I went to that, and then I built a county website, and it doesn't cost anything to update it. So I put our financial statements on there. Every month I put our sales and use tax information on there. We get money from Oakland. I put that on there. I put all the information on the county website. We also have a county Facebook page as well, and that doesn't cost anything. I put the same information on the Facebook page as well. And then in the office at the courthouse, my door's got a window. I put a TV screen facing out with that exact same information scrolling on the screen. So when you're walking down the hallway, you can see the information there as well. and some of the other things that we do, because we treat the money like it's our money, because it is, because I'm a taxpayer. But Mark was talking about, you know, fighting for every penny. It reminded me earlier today, I called Regions Bank because we normally pay $105 a month for analysis fee. When we got the bill today, it was $106. I called Regions Bank and said, hey, what's this extra dollar for? Because I treat it like it's my money. And they'll fix it. They gave us their word that they'd fix it. But we do things like that, and we looked at things, other ways to save the county money. We used to have to make copies, 3 copies of all the checks. So we went to online banking, and now we do direct deposit on the payroll for around 400 employees. We do direct deposit to all the school districts, all the local cities and towns, and it saved about 22,000 sheets of paper a year. And I know that's not a lot of money, but still, right now we have a locker with 60,000 sheets of paper in it. We don't have to buy paper for a long time. But that's what we do, things like that. And we looked at the postal machine. We were paying $70 a month for a postal machine where you run the letter through, you know, and then you got to buy the postage online. Well, I got rid of that and saved $70 a month. I took that money and went and bought stamps. And then we sat in the office and we put stamps on the envelopes, and we do just like you would do at your house. And at $70 a month, that adds up too when you add it on to everything else that we do. So we're constantly looking for ways to save money. Another way was when I first come in office, there was a check machine, and you literally, a signature machine. You put a check in it and it signed your signature. You had to do it one at a time. Well, I got with our financial intelligence software company, and they changed our software free of charge, where when it prints a check, it prints my signature on it. And it's perfectly legal. We got it approved through the state, and that saved a lot of time and saved a lot of money, taxpayer money. And that's all I got. Thank you.
George?
Tim,
yes, sir.
I sat on the quorum board for 2 years, and I can't recall hardly any meetings you missed. I don't think I can recall one, and I didn't miss any that 2 years. But your staff in your office is 2. So how much could you reduce? And lastly, I'm not sure what Mark's talking about when he says we can control the money and do it, because you monitor every single thing, but it comes to your office with a signature. So how would you intercede to reduce the expenses of those other constitutional officers and the various things that are approved by their hierarchy? I don't know that that's in the purview of your job. Is it or is it not?
Thank you, George. You're right. It's not, because each one of the offices, we're all constitutional officers. We work for the public. We work for 96,000 taxpayers. So the treasurer doesn't work for the judge. The circuit court clerk doesn't work for the county clerk. The buck stops with us. Good or bad in the office, we're responsible for it. So I don't have any say-so over how another office spends their money. And you're right, as far as quorum court meetings, we're required by law to attend. And I've been to nearly every quorum court meeting, but finance committee meetings I do not attend because I read the agenda ahead of time. A lot of the members on the quorum court, they don't read it until they sit down in the meeting. Well, if they read it ahead of time, they can call me if they have a question, and I can answer it then, or come to the meeting if I need to. So, thank you, George.
Okay, I'm sorry, but we got a lot of ground to cover here. We need to go on, but thank these gentlemen for being up here. Okay, Garland County Assessor, Shannon Sharp, Gary West. Ladies are first, as they should be.
Hello everyone, I'm Shannon Sharp and I want to be your Garland County Assessor. I would like to thank everyone for coming out tonight to hear what the candidates have to say. First, I'd like to share with you that I'm a lifelong resident of Garland County. I'm a graduate of Jesseville High School. My husband Sean and I were married here over 25 years ago, and this is where we've raised our daughter, Brittany. I'm a conservative Republican, and I will always look for ways to save Garland County money. The current assessor, Tommy Thompson, is retiring, and I've enjoyed working with him and for him. And I appreciate him to promoting me to be his chief deputy assessor, and also for his endorsement to be your Garland County assessor. I've worked for Garland County in the assessor's office for over 22 years, and Garland County is very special to me. And I want to continue to serve the people of Garland County. The assessor is to value both real and personal property at market value, and to treat all taxpayers with fairness and equality. So why should you vote Shannon Sharp as Garland County Assessor? I'm the most qualified candidate. I have the common sense and the experience and education to deal with everyday problems, and I know how to run the office. I've worked in personal property, business personal property, real estate appraiser, computer systems manager, appraisal manager, and currently I am Chief Deputy Assessor. I feel that this is very essential because when January 1, 2015 is here, I will be able to walk in that office as your assessor and keep working as usual. There will be no downtime for training because this is what I've done for the past 22 years. During my employment with the Garland County Assessor's Office, I've taken every opportunity to further my career. I'm a level 4 appraiser with appraisal manager designation, and that means that I have the training and the education to measure, grade, and depreciate improvements. Also how to value property and explain how property values are arrived at. In order to obtain this level of designation, I had to pass various courses, and they include fundamentals of real property appraisal, income approach to valuation, assessment of personal property, fundamentals of mass appraisal, and assessment administration. Having been the computer systems manager, I know the computer system inside and out. I'm able to enter data into the system. I know what the various codes stand for, and that is very essential to see that data is being entered correctly. I also attended Garland County Community College while working in the assessor's office, and I took various computer courses. This has been very beneficial for me as well as the assessor's office. I can run different types of reports when information needs to be looked at. I've always worked hard and strived to do my best, and no one will work harder than I will for the people of Garland County. I'm a candidate with common sense and also the education and experience it takes to run this office. And that is why you should vote for me, Shannon Sharp, as Garland County Assessor. In closing, I promise to treat everyone with respect, fairness, and equality. I'm asking for your prayers, your support, and your vote. Keep my 22 years of experience working for you and vote Shannon Sharp as your Garland County Assessor. And remember, think sharp, vote sharp. Thank you.
Any questions? Any questions? Somebody make one up. Everybody deserves a question. Yes, sir. Please tell us who you are.
Josh Drake, I was just curious, is there anything you would do different from the current assessor?
Well, I feel like the office is well ran. We are always looking for ways for advancement with technology. One of the things that I have in mind is for the businesses to be able to assess their personal property online. As technology keeps developing, I will definitely look into keeping up with it.
Thank you, Shane.
Hello, I'm Gary West. I'm a conservative Christian guy with a lot of common sense. It seems like common sense is coming to the forefront now. I've been a licensed realtor since 1979. I've learned on the ground, from the boots up. I've walked Garland County. I've sold hundreds of pieces of property. I've dealt with hundreds of legal problems with issues. I serve on the Garland County Equalization Board.
I serve on the 70 West Fire Department Board. I serve on the Royal Water District Board. And looking on the Equalization Board the last few years, I see problems there. I see people come in with issues. I never will forget the first day I served. There was a problem and people gave their problem. We listened to it as a board. The Carmel listened to it. The assessor was there and his people listened to it. Then one of our guys made a motion that we accept Carmel's recommendation and raise their taxes. Our guy made a motion to vote. 4 voted aye and I voted nay. About 18 or 20 people in the room locked in on me. This is my first day. And they said, "You voted nay?" I said, "Yes, I did." He said, "Why'd you vote nay?" I said, "Because you're wrong." And I gave them a comp off the top of my head, and they pulled it on the computer. And sure enough, it was about $11 a square foot difference. That's not much, but if it's my home. I gave them 2 more examples. Our guy withdrew the motion. I made a recommendation that we lower their taxes to like $78 or $9 a square foot. The motion passed, the people were tickled and left. You know, I want a fair shot. I learned it from the ground up. I didn't learn it on the computer. I'm a guy that knows how, and I'll be fair and I'll be honest with everyone. I had questions today. I had people call today and say, "I'm still waiting on a call back from the assessor's office. I have a problem," you know, and they're not calling back. You know, I'll be a guy that'll answer those calls. I've been a resident here since 1983. I lived here in the late 60s, came out of the military here, would have stayed here, but my dad had health problems. I went back to southeast Arkansas, ran a 1,200-acre row crop farm and run about 300 mama cows. I know how to work. I've had a successful business here. Jack Meredith and I drilled hundreds of wells in Garland County, and I sold several farms that never was a sign put up, or nobody ever knew I sold it. I sold it on a handshake with those old farmers in the 80s, you know. And I am a common sense guy. I'll answer the call. I'll make the decision. If I'm right, I'll stick with it. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it and move on. I'm not a real computer tech guy, but you know, our real estate business has changed. I signed lots of contracts. The other night I signed one at 9:30, sent it to Kansas, people traveling on vacation. And at 10:30 I sent one to Iowa a few minutes later. I won't have to know all the inner workings of that office. That's what those folks that are working in there for. My job will be to manage those people and keep those fires put out. I want to be fair with everyone involved, with everyone that calls. I want to be treated with respect and dignity, and I won't have all the answers, but I'll assure you no one will work harder than I will for that. And in closing, I'd like to say too, you know, I'm gonna just be real blunt with this. You can graze your chickens during the daylight hours. You can bring them out of the woods. You know, I'm not gonna tax your laying hens. And I appreciate you voting. Thank you.
I'm glad to know about those chickens. Anybody have a question? Come on, this is your chance, population. Okay. Yes, there's a person. Please stand up. Please stand up and tell us who you are.
My name is Barbara Garland. What I would like to ask you, did you take their name and number and call the assessor's office and find out why they didn't come back to them?
What? I'm a little hard here.
Tom, tell him what I said.
Did you call back the people to let them know?
Did they get their name? Did you get the people's name and number
Yes.
and call the assessor's
Yes,
office and
I
tell
have
them?
their name and number.
Did you call the assessor's office and say, how come you haven't done that, and can pass along the information?
No, I didn't. It was about 4:30 when she called me, and I was in Jesseville showing some property.
Okay. All right. Let's thank our candidates. Circuit Judge Division 2. Mike Crawford, Cecilia Dyer, John Howard, Wade Naramore. Mike and Cecilia. I'll figure it out, just sit where you want. Okay, let's go by the way I have it here, Mike.
Good afternoon, my name is Mike McCormack. Tom, thank you. This is the third group I've had today, and none of them been run like you. This is just great, and this is very professional. I appreciate your organizational skills here. I am a candidate for Division II. Judge Vicki Cook's retiring. This is going to be an open vacancy, so we're not running against an existing judge. The other 3 judges are running unopposed. There is a significant difference between the candidates. They're all nice people, they're all good lawyers, and they all have good families. But the significant difference is the word experience. And so I want to share with you a few of my experiences, but what I'll share with you is that only by the grace of God do I have the talents and the experiences that I'm going to share with you. So I give him the credit, but I have to share some things with you when you're making a decision about how to cast your vote. First of all, I've been practicing in Garland County exclusively since I was licensed, since 1981, for 33 years. I have practiced in every district court, every circuit court, every federal court, every county court, and every municipal court that we've had in this district in front of every judge since the beginning of my career in 1981. I've had the opportunity to serve as a special judge and have been asked by each of the 4 districts, we have 4 circuits now, to serve as special judge in all 4 of those circuits. And I've been asked to serve in both district courts, Judge Ohm and Judge Schweitzer. So judges have to, from time to time, take leave, and they ask someone they trust to serve as a judge. Now let's talk about some of the things in Division II. It's a family court, principally. It deals with children and families. So I think you have to be able to say that you have some experience, and you have to measure your experience as being a parent and being a husband. I've been with my wife 38 years. We've been married 33 of those years since we were both 19. We have 3 children. My 2 adult sons are both licensed attorneys. They're both Eagle Scouts. My 17-year-old daughter is currently participating in Leadership Hot Springs. She teaches swimming at the Y. She hopes to spend her senior year in France. She is an amazing young lady. So I believe my wife and I have done a good job. We've raised them in a church as we were raised. They were all baptized, they all accepted Christ, and they're all productive citizens. Now, I also believe you have to give to your community. I've been a scout leader for over 20 years, received scouting awards, highest award, Silver Beaver. I've also gone to all summer camps, National Jamboree, World Jamboree in Chile, helped 17 young men become Eagle Scouts. So I've been active in my church. I've been active in my Elks Lodge. I was a trustee there. I served over there for 20 years. And I've been active in organizations. I give my time to Red Cross, Habitat for Humanity, YMCA, and others. So let's talk about the very last and the most important thing, and that's legal experience. Legal experience means that you have the ability to sit in judgment and have the time and experience to hear and make decisions that are going to affect families. Now, the principal area in Division II is juvenile. So that means you've got to be able to deal with families, you've got to deal with mental professionals, you've got to deal with counselors, you've got to deal with teachers, you've got to deal with all those professions. And I believe I have those skills. But you also have to do the other Division II work. You have jury trials, you have civil cases, you have guardianships. You have all of these areas that you must have experience in. And just being in DHS, just being a prosecutor, just being an ad litem won't be enough. You need experience in all of those areas to serve effectively as the circuit judge in Division II. Judge Cook's done a great job, and she's made changes. She's brought in CASA, she's brought in anger management, parenting center. So I hope to keep implementing those same changes. We have to move forward to help our youth. The degradation of the family is our principal problem. We've got to keep families together. We've got to teach them to be better parents. I'm asking for your vote, and I'm asking for you to help me. Come down and tell us how we can run juvenile court better, how we can do a better job of helping families. And I thank you, and I ask for your vote on May 20th.
Any questions? All right, thank you. Cecilia?
Thank you, and good evening, everyone, and thank you to the Garland County Good Government Group for having this forum for us.
This judicial election is so important, and the reason it's so important is because what Mr. Crawford said, Judge Vicki Cook is retiring, so what literally is at stake is the direction of our juvenile court. You're going to hear us talk a lot about experience, and all of us agree that experience is very important. And Garland County, by the way, is very fortunate to have such good candidates running for circuit judge. My opponents for this race are highly qualified and good people, but I'm going to tell you why I believe I'm the best qualified for this, because experience counts, and I believe I have the right experience for this particular job. I've been a litigation attorney in Garland County for 23 years. For 17 years, I spent in private practice, which focused primarily on all issues pertaining to family law. And as a litigator, I've literally tried thousands of cases before the circuit court. I've also served as deputy city attorney for the city of Hot Springs, with the primary responsibility of prosecuting for the city in district court. And then in 2008, the state of Arkansas hired me because of my extensive experience in family law to represent the Department of Human Services. And I represent the Department of Human Services in all of their cases brought before juvenile court in regard to our abused and neglected children in Garland County. And just since 2008 alone, I've appeared in juvenile court for well over 2,000 hearings and trials. And I'm running for Division II Circuit Judge because the work of juvenile court is so important to our community. Its role in our community absolutely cannot be overstated, and the life-changing impact that it has on our children and our families is absolutely crucial. You know, every business day I practice juvenile law, and I know firsthand that the children and families navigating their way through the juvenile court system are absolutely in crisis mode, and they're facing extremely serious issues. You know, one thing I've liked about going around and talking to groups is I get to educate a lot of people what goes on in juvenile court. Very briefly, some of the serious issues we deal with in juvenile court are children breaking our criminal laws. Children whose behavior is so out of control that a parent is asking the court to step in and give them some guidance and direction and boundaries. We deal with babies who are born addicted to illegal drugs and parents who would rather spend money buying an illegal substance like meth or cocaine than feed their child. We deal with fathers who are sexually abusing their own child, or grandfathers their own grandchild. And we deal with children living in absolutely deplorable living conditions. And we deal with parents who beat and batter their own child. These are very serious issues that we deal with down in juvenile court. And dealing with these types of issues and advocating for children in Garland County is what I have dedicated my legal career to and my work life to. And you know why? I get asked a lot, why do you do that? How can you stand to do that day after day? You know what I tell them? I tell them because there's absolutely nothing more important than protecting our children and strengthening and preserving our families. That's why I do it. That's where my passion is, and that's where my heart lies. And I want to be your juvenile judge. I want to keep Division II, our dedicated sole juvenile court, for the duration of my term in office, which is a 6-year term. And I'm asking for your vote on May 20th, and help me keep making a difference for all of our children. Thank you.
Any questions, though? Any questions? Yes, in the back.
Josh Drake again. As an employee for the state, you only have so much control over your client, which is the Department of Human Services. But as judge, things will change. What one or two things would you do differently when you move from being the attorney for the state versus the judge who gets to make the decisions?
I've noticed being an attorney for 23 years, even in private practice, I didn't have control over my clients a lot of times. But I think the best answer I can give to that at this point in time is we've got to absolutely follow the law and accountability. You know, just because they're an arm of the state, they don't need special recognition or special exceptions, but absolutely follow the letter of the law. That's what I'm committed to. We need a judge, of course, who is unbiased and who's well learned in the law and knows the law. Juvenile law is a very special body of law. It's thick, there's a lot of nuances to it, and we need a judge who's well versed in juvenile law and who knows it and will hold every person and player in juvenile court accountable and to the letter of the law.
Thank you. Hey, John Howard.
Ditto. We've been doing this for weeks and months now, so we've all heard our stock speeches. We're all friends. We know what everybody's going to say. We get along real well. This will be the most genteel race you'll ever see. I want to stress as well my experience and my involvement and why I'm involved in this race. And both of these candidates, who are my friends, have touched on it as well. I'm running for this position specifically because it is the juvenile court position, because I believe it is the most important of the judgeships, and because I believe it's one of the most important jobs in Garland County. Your grandkids, your children, your nieces and nephews, all of them are affected by this court. All of them could end up in this court. You never know what might get you there. But that court is your future. The court deals with 100% of the dependency neglect type cases that come through. Everything that involves the things that Ms. Dyer's already talked about. Problems at home, drug abuse, child abuse, sexual abuse. This court sees them all. You guys don't know this. You don't see it because of closed hearings. You can't come down there and watch. Sometimes we wish the public could come down there and watch and see the horrible things that we deal with and the importance of this court in dealing with them. This court also deals with delinquency, which is juvenile criminal cases. It deals with FINS, which is kind of a hybrid that helps out families. Families in need of services is what that's for. And it can be all manner of different types of things that come up. Mr. Crawford's right. It's not just juvenile, but that is what's most dear and most important to me is the juvenile portion of this. I have represented, I don't know how many hundreds of children. I see people in this room who I have had representation of children they're connected with. And I'm sure they know me, but I'm not going to point anybody out. And I have represented them as their attorney ad litem, on behalf of the children, looking out for the children's best interest. I've been doing that for the past 15 years. My entire legal career, I've been involved in family law. There are other things that this court does, and I too have been appointed many times as special circuit judge in this court, been appointed in multiple divisions of Garland County Circuit Court as a special judge. I have experience in all those other areas that this court might do as well. The civil cases, the probate cases. I've been stood in front of a jury as well. All of those things that this court does, I also have that experience. The near and dear to me is the family, is the importance of your future, which is what these kids are. A little bit about me. Personally, in the judge race, we can't really talk about issues. The rules forbid us from getting up here and letting you fire questions at us. I'd love to do that, but we can't because you're not allowed to talk about anything that the court might potentially rule on at some point, something that might come before you. But a little bit about me that gives you some idea of who I am. I am a lifelong resident of Garland County. My family's been in Garland County 170 years. I have many, many people here, got long roots in this county. My wife and I live here. She's in the Hot Springs leadership class with Mr. Crawford's daughter this year. We have a 7-month-old daughter, Olivia. She's not here tonight. That's why it's quiet in this room. I went to Fountain Lake High School. I have served on various boards and committees. I'm involved with the Mountain Valley Sportsman's Club. It's a shooting range, 500 members just outside of town here. I'm on their board. I guarantee that I'm the only candidate in the race who has a degree in gunsmithing. It in no way qualifies me to be judge, but it tells you a little bit about me. I am deeply committed to this county. I intend to spend the rest of my life here. It's very important to me to see how this county develops and to look out for its future, and that's what this office is well equipped to do. I'm John Howard. I'm committed to Garland County. I appreciate your vote. I'll be top of the ballot. on Election Day, May 20th. Thank you.
Any questions? Any questions? Okay, oh, that same Josh back there.
No one else is asking questions.
That's okay.
You've
There's a
practiced, Judge Cook's been on the bench pretty much your whole legal career, and you practice in front of her a lot, because I know you too. What have you learned from her that you think you will carry forward if you're a judge?
Well, the first thing I've learned is that Josh Drake should be held in contempt at
Yes.
every opportunity. I don't think she's ever actually issued that order, but she's wanted to. No, Josh, and everyone here, these folks don't get to see what goes on in that court every day. Judge Cook has done a wonderful job running this court. She's been there for about 20 years, over 20 years. There's 18 employees. She's handled those employees. There's all kinds of programs that involve these children. She's handled those programs that involve these children and expanded it and got into the community and the churches. Those are the things that I've learned that I want to continue. I want to continue her tradition, particularly the areas of adoption, of being involved with families who are looking at adoption, of juvenile drug court. All of those things are things that I think are very important that I'd like to continue and expand on. Our own daughter was adopted through this court. I think that court, the things that it has done and the things that Judge Cook has done over her career, very important. I want to continue those things. And to hold Josh Drake in contempt.
Wade Naramore could not be here tonight. I'm going to read something that he sent along that I feel obliged to read. I wish he would have put it in number 20 font on here. It's kind of small. Wade apologized for not being here tonight to speak. He had previously committed himself to another speaking engagement that could not be rescheduled. I will read a short statement from Wade's campaign. Wade is a deputy prosecuting attorney for Garland County. He handles 100% of the juvenile cases for the prosecutor's office. He also is responsible for orders of protection on domestic violence cases countywide. Wade has practiced extensively in every area of the law that this judgeship hears. His particular area of emphasis has been on juvenile law. He also serves this community as a special judge on numerous occasions and has presided over juvenile, probate, and domestic cases. Wade believes it is critical to keep juvenile court together with more judges hearing all the juvenile cases. He believes there is nothing more important within a community than children and families, especially children and families in need. Working with the youth of today is vital to our community. They are our future and deserve to have a judge with the right quality of experience who will be fair and impartial to all concerned. Wade has worked closely with CASA and OCC, foster families, therapists, counselors, teachers, administrators, mentors, probation officers, and law enforcement. He believes all this group and others are essential in allowing the court to be able to tailor services to help each family and each child as best we can. If you are willing to help our children and families, Wade welcomes your thoughts and suggestions. Juvenile court serves about 1,500 children per year. Doing that kind of work is something that you have to love. You have to have a passion for it. That is why election is so important to him, to our community. It is an opportunity to help put these children and their families on the right path. It is important to make a positive difference in the future of Garland County. Wade was also born and raised in Hot Springs. His father is an attorney, and so is his wife, Ashley Wright Naramore. Ashley is also from Hot Springs, and they have one child, a son. Wade began his legal career in Little Rock with a real estate firm. He supervised a staff of 10 employees who handled residential, commercial, and government real estate closings. He then became Assistant General Counsel for Dillard's corporate headquarters in Little Rock and practiced corporate law at a national-wide level. He and his wife later decided to move back to Hot Springs. The rest of it, the last two paragraphs, basically was talking, apologizing for not being here. So I felt it important, and I got it in on time, which is a miracle.
Hey, Tom, I have a question for Wade.
I hate the referee. I will take one question for Wade. The answer is
Who was more important
probably
than
not.
good government?
I'm sorry?
Who was more important than the good government?
Write down who asked that question.
Yeah. I'm going to have to study that matter and get back to you. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Let me get my notes here. Here they are right here. Thank you all. Josh Gregg.
not until November. I'm on the general election ballot for governor.
Okay, good, good. I'm not trying to minimize that, I didn't know. And if there's a little time left over, I'll let you get up here and speak, and if not, you won't. But I appreciate all your questions, for sure. Arkansas State Representative District 22, Donald Layman. Donald? And I believe Mickey's not here, Mickey Gates, is that correct?
I think he's out of town.
Yeah, I believe I got word on that. I have been informed that possibly Dan Lewin, where's Dan at? There you are, Dan, come on up here. Dan's one of the greatest public speakers I've ever had, been around in my life. But Dan was asked to say a couple words too, about Mickey, who we've known for years.
I thought you were running for something.
Dan, hello, Dan. Come on up. Dan is here speaking for Mickey Gates, okay?
Well, you know, you might think he's afraid to come here and address you, but, you know, Mickey's not afraid of anything. But this afternoon he called me up and he says, I can't get back in time. Would you go up there and speak for me? So here I am. Okay, Mickey Gates. He's endorsed by Mike McCormack, GGGG, State Senator Gilbert Baker, Alan Clark, Richard Womack, and many others. Now, I don't know, but being endorsed by politicians, I don't. So I'll speak for him. You know, I don't have a prepared speech that could work on, but you know, the basic thing is you can always tell much about a person by his family. And Mickey Gates has an awesome family. He's got 2 great kids, you know, and so I'm very impressed. And we've been friends for acquaintances for many years. And, you know, I've never been at his house, and he's never been at mine. But you know, Let me see, I got something written down too. Now, you know, one of the things that impressed me about Mickey, through the years he's recruited many young people and children into the political race, you know. I know he had me take about 4 of them down to the court, you know, and learn about how they work. And he's always been working with young people, and that's always impressed me. He's a type of a person that either you like him or you hate him, you know. And but he's never been afraid to tackle any situation. Let me read some of this stuff. Mickey was first elected to the public office while he was in his 20s, and in his early 30s he was elected to Quorum Court. Many of his 20 years as Justice of the Peace, he was the youngest member and was a minority party. You know, that's a big deal there. And despite many challenges, Mickey's one of the outspoken leaders of the Garland County government. Now, you might agree with him or not, but he is outspoken. If he thinks he's right, you got a fight on your hands if you try to change him, and that's an asset. And you know, the thing about Mickey is he knows the people of Garland County. He's been around here for 30 years in political office, and he knows what we need, what we think, and what we want. And that's important. That's really important when you go up to higher office, to know what the people think. And this is one of the things that he's going to take with him as he takes office. Mickey believes in Mickey believes in the government should have 3 main purposes.
Donald, would you like to give Dan 10 more minutes? Did I not tell you how good a speaker he is? And I take it you're endorsing Mickey, is that right? Sit down. I didn't mean to throw you, I'm sorry. How you gonna follow that, Don?
Wow. Yeah, I was going to say I yield the balance of my time to Mr. Lewin, but I don't know. You guys gave him a standing ovation, but I'm not sure that was a positive thing. Wow. But I'm so glad to have you guys all here. I thank you for coming out, and thanks to the Garland Good Government Group for putting this on, and Tom for doing a great job until recently. A great job of good season for him. But just want to tell you guys a little bit about me. My name is Donald Layman. I am running for the House of Representatives in District 22. And that encompasses primarily the village, but it goes out to Royal and Perrin and Lonsdale and covers Fountain Lake and even goes up to Jesseville. So very large area that's both rural and as well as this area of Hot Springs Village. I am a husband, been married to my wife Lori for 15 years. A father, I have 2 children, John, who is 12, and my daughter, who is 13, who attends school at Jesseville and have attended public schools all of their life, well, as long as they've been in school. I'm an ordained minister of the Assemblies of God and am currently involved in ministry now. I'm also a licensed investment advisor and compliance officer, and also work with people in their investments. So if you're having some questions about how you need to invest your money, I'm open to talk to you about that. And then also Justice of the Peace. I've been a Justice of the Peace for the last 4 years and worked with, sat next to Mickey on the Quorum Court of Garland County. And Mickey is just as entertaining as Mr. Lewin. So I'm trying to be funny, and I don't know if I can follow Mr. Lewin here. So here we go. I know, it's tough. I should get extra time for the interruptions. But I am running for this office primarily for my 2 children, John and Susanna. And those of you who've heard me speak, you know, you've heard me say this before, but you know, I've looked, and not just in announcing to run for this office, but as I've gotten involved in the political process, like many of you, I've looked at the political climate, both on a state and federal level, and thought, man, this is not going well. And I want to get involved, I want to do something about it. But the thing that really hit me is that I realized that these people that are, you know, making decisions are making decisions that are going to affect my children's future. And I decided this, I can't allow my children's future to be in the hands of other people for any longer. Mickey's a good guy and we get along, we're friends, but even with Mickey, nobody loves my children and nobody cares for my children as much as I do. And I feel like I'm the best person to make the good decisions regarding their future. And by the way, that means good decisions for your children's future and your grandchildren's future as well. Their future, the things that are important to me is a future with a good education so that whenever they do get that high school diploma, it actually means something whenever they want to go and get a job or whenever they want to go to college or they want to go into the military or whatever they choose for their vocation. I want it to mean something, that they can read and they can write and they can do math. And that's not always the case these days. I want them to get a future where whenever they decide to go to college, if they decide to go to college and they come out of school, that there's a job waiting for them because we have an economic environment that's been good for creating jobs. Right now, children are graduating from college and from junior college, and they come out and they can't find a job. One of the highest unemployment rates that we have across the nation and in the state
is with those that have recently graduated, and I want to see those things change. A little bit about me as a politician or politically is I am a fiscally, not physically, obviously I'm not physically conservative, but fiscally conservative Republican. And I believe that we know the keys as fiscal conservative Republicans to secure the future of my children and your children and grandchildren. And that is lower taxes. Is he over here?
He's doing my job, he's doing a good one too. Yeah, wind it up, please.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can't see the light back there.
It's fine.
So I'm going to give you three things really quickly that I want to accomplish. Number one is I want to fight for a stand your ground law in Arkansas. I want to work to reform the Arkansas tax code. And third thing is I want to push for a Parents' Bill of Rights to protect the rights of parents for the children against the public sector in the schools.
Okay, see here. Any questions? Barbara?
Barbara Duchelle, I want to know what your plans are for the tax code.
My plans for the tax code is, if you look at the states around us, many states have a sales tax, or they have an income tax, or they have a property tax. We here in Arkansas have all three. And we need to take an across-the-board look at our tax code, looking at lowering personal income tax, look at lowering capital gains tax, look at addressing these things. And, it's not going to be, it's not an easy thing where you can go, I can't commit to eliminating capital gains or eliminating income tax or eliminating sales tax. But the thing that is imperative is that as a legislator is to go in and make wise decisions about reducing the taxes and addressing the adjustments to the revenue side and the spending side that makes sense.
Okay. Would anyone like to escort Mr.
Can I answer that escort?
No. No. But thank you for asking. Okay, let's move on here. Jerry Neal, Bill Sample, and George, you need to be up here. Come on up here. You'll just have a seat anywhere. Okay. Okay. Jerry, now that you're comfortable, you go ahead and, Jerry Neal.
Thank you. I'd like to start by saying that George and I have done something important for good government. We have forced the invisible senator to show up in person, in public, in his district. Look closely, you've only got a few more weeks to see him. He usually hangs out with the establishment types in Little Rock, but that's fine because the establishment's doing a great job in Little Rock and Washington, right? Or maybe not. That's why I'm in the race. Who am I? I am Jerry Neal, an Arkansas native. I'm a graduate of Hendrix College. You'll see two other Hendrix graduates on the ballot, Tim Griffin and Ken Yang. It's a liberal school. I don't know what happened. We turned out conservative. I'm an Army veteran. I became a CPA, a partner in a CPA firm, a peer reviewer of other CPA firms. I was on the committee at the State Society that reviewed all the peer reviews. My wife, Edith, and I have been married 33 years. We have a son who's a captain in the Army, a doctor. We have a daughter who's a veterinarian. We believe in service. After September 11th, my wife joined the military to take care of the soldiers. She's been under enemy fire in Iraq. We believe in service. I believe this is my time to serve. So why am I running? Most people here are running for open seats. I must have a disagreement with the incumbent. I have a few. Let's start with Medicaid expansion under Obamacare. I won't go into the details. My opponent says it's not Obamacare. Obama says it's Obamacare. They had to get permission from Kathleen Sebelius. John Brummett, the liberal writer for the Democrat Gazette, says it's Obamacare. Another reason I got off the couch and decided to run is, well, we've all seen Lois Lerner on television. What does Lois Lerner do? She works for the government. She gets up there and refuses to testify. Well, we had a scandal with the University of Arkansas, and the fellow who got fired working from the university came back from Texas to testify. He was ready to testify. Senator Sample pulled a parliamentary maneuver and prevented the testimony. A different committee had to call a hearing, weeks later, pull all 6 people back, spend a lot of money doing that. With my background as an auditor, if you elect me, I will ask to be on the Joint Auditing Committee. I will try to investigate scandals and waste of money. It's your money. It's millions of dollars. I will not put things under the rug. I will try to investigate things. I don't know how much time I have left. There are a lot of things to talk about. I would be very happy to take questions.
You got a good minute if you want to use it.
Okay, well, let me just say that this is a grassroots campaign. We don't have much money. My wife is my campaign manager. My daughter's an IT manager. My son's doing a little research. Please help us spread the word. If I am the conservative, Senator Sample says he's conservative. The American Conservative Union says he is the most liberal of 73 Republicans in the legislature. Arkansas Watch says he's one of the 10 worst. But give him credit, they said all the Democrats are number 1. So I have lots of ideas for the economy and taxes. We don't have time to talk about it. I have had to explain why I'm running, so please support me. If you do support me, tell your friends and neighbors. It is a grassroots campaign. You still have a question back there?
Yeah, someone back there. Yes, sir. Tell us your name.
Tom Hedrick. If somebody contacts your office and asks you a specific question, will you give a specific answer to that question?
Always, and I have some campaign cards back there. They contain my cell phone number. I am always available. I am conservative, honest, and trustworthy. I will answer every question immediately to the best of my ability. If I don't know enough, I will look it up and then talk to you.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Jerry.
Sure.
Thank you. I spent the most part of the day doing your business for you. And I'll tell you right up front, I'm not going down that road. I run a positive campaign. If I can't say something good about somebody, I'm just not going to say it. That being said, most of you know what I've been doing. It's in the paper. And but I'd like to tell you what I plan to do. I doubt if anyone in this audience knows that I've been selected the legislator of the year for the last 2 sessions for my tax reduction legislation. This year I have this next session I have plans, if you send me back, to take and do more of it. The first part of it, we've already got most of it drafted, but it concerns the state income tax. I helped with state income tax this year with the House. They had passed some legislation before we got revenue stabilization completed, and so we had to go in and modify it. I also helped them rewrite their capital gains tax, same scenario. But I also have a bill that we're working on that will help the retirees in our community. My legislative companions have a hard time understanding that recruiting retirees is a good thing. When we recruit retirees, they bring their wealth, they buy houses, they buy automobiles. The nice thing is, we don't have to build new schools, we don't have to build bigger prisons. Rarely do we see some of them in jail. They're very good law-abiding citizens. I've also spent a lot of time on education. You will see in the next week or so about some of the things that are coming to fruition. But I've worked with a 4-year college to take and bring it to downtown Hot Springs. That college has an agreement with National Park that they won't take and have classes that are offered to freshmen and sophomores. It is a good thing for us to have a college in downtown where our students, once they come out of the 2-year college, they can continue their education, and they can also have jobs. It'll also save the parents of those students a lot of money by them not having to live on campus and having all that expense. The last thing I want to tell you is that I feel like that I've been very fortunate to be able to take and represent you. I'm not as mean of a person as I've been portrayed, but I do my job, and I stand up for the people in this state and this district. And I'll think that once my record is out there again about what I've even done today, that you will all be happy with what I've brought you and what I've helped take care of. And I will take questions. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, let me do that, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you make this?
Well, we may have two ma'ams here. Go ahead.
I know that you...
Please state your name, sir.
I'm Diane Silverman. I know that you ran against Obamacare, but you were a cheerleader for the private options. And I'm curious how you put together the fact that Obamacare in any form, including the private option, is an expansion of government, big government. And as a conservative, you would be against big government, against taxes, and for government out of our lives. And yet, the private option puts it all back on top of us. I just don't quite get the connection.
Well, and I will take and take this time, I'm going to answer your question, but I'm going to say, if you've got those questions, I'm having a town hall meeting April the 24th, and it's 6:30 at the convention center, and I'm going to have some experts who can answer that question, but I'll tell you this. I'm going to, I just want to pitch that in there. Medicaid was going to cost us an additional $250 million this year. It cost us 33 cents on every dollar that we spend for Medicaid. If we could take and implement the private option, it was going to be a zero cost to the state of Arkansas. Folks, I was elected to the senator of the District 22. I don't have anything to do with the budget process in Washington, D.C. I tried to make the best deal that we could, or we were going to take and have a full-blown Obamacare in Arkansas. We had a hard decision to make. I made that decision. I do not regret that decision.
I would like to hold any more questions, just to be fair to everybody up here, and you can ask him afterwards, okay? Thank you, Bill. George.
Thank you. I'm George Pritchett. I served on the Quorum Court for 2 years. Thank you. I'm an independent candidate for State Senator District 14. I'll be facing one of these two gentlemen. Jerry pointed out a number of things that I would question about Mr. Sample's record. Mr. Sample's also served a number of years in the State House. He's also served as a senator. Probably the only thing that hasn't been mentioned that I would bring up is that's my understanding he's in support of the ethics bill that's going to be on the ballot. I want you all to know that buried in that ballot back on page 16 and 22 is doubling the term limits of all the offices in the state. That means Mr. Sample could be our senator for 12 more years should he choose to run. It means that our state representatives could serve for 16 years also. I think we need new blood, new people, and turnover up there. What happens when someone goes to D.C. or they go to Little Rock is they get in the establishment, they get in the groove, they get to know the guys, they get to know what it works with. That's who you golf with, drink with, play with, fish with. Next thing you know, they're the ones that give you all the ideas, and all that original ideas you got from your grassroots folks has just gone to hell. I'm running, I'm too old to serve a couple more terms. I just want to run one time, go up there and do what I can. I'm a fiscal conservative. I oppose the private option in the form that it's in. It troubles me that in 3 or 4 years when the federal government may choose to not fund it the way they have, we will in the state of Arkansas have to find that money. And I walk around looking under trees, low-hanging fruit. pick my fruit that way, but I haven't found any money as I walk by the banks and by the State House. So we have to be very careful. I'll defer any time I have left to Mr. Sample to give us more about his record. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for George? Anybody have a question? Okay, gentlemen, that's it. Thank you for your time. Okay, I'm going to do something I've always wanted to do in my 30-some-odd years of living here. I want to invoke the emergency clause and let Josh speak. Come on up, Josh.
I appreciate you letting me speak. I'll be quick. I didn't come here to speak. I came here to see four of my friends discuss them being judges. This is about Garland County. I'll say a couple things about Garland County. These four judicial candidates have 4 different backgrounds and 4 different resource pools to which they come at this job, and you've heard them give their thing, but the thing that we're so excited about as attorneys is they all have a great heart, and they all care about kids, and we can't go wrong. And so, you know, you can look at them, and I encourage you to find out more about them, but know that no matter who gets elected, you know, sometimes you're like, oh man, if that person wins, we're in trouble. They all have a good heart. And so come election day, just be glad that whoever won is the person who got the most votes out there, but you know that the children of Garland County are going to be in a good situation. I'm Josh Drake. I've been a local attorney here for 20 years. I'm a Green Party candidate for governor. I'll be on the November ballot. We don't have a primary, and so there will also be Frank Gilbert, who will be the Libertarian on the November ballot. If by November you're sick and tired of hearing about Asa and Mike Ross, and you don't like the millions and millions and millions of dollars that you didn't spend for those television commercials, and you think we need more options, the reason it's important to vote for someone other than the 2 candidates for governor is that that's how you become a political party in Arkansas. You have to get 3% of the vote in the governor's race in order to be a political party. That's why I'm running for the Green. That's why the Libertarians have Frank Gilbert running. I'm sure he'd love to be governor too, but he, like I, knows that we're not going to win. We don't have the millions of dollars, and we never will have the millions of dollars at this election cycle. And so, but that's why I encourage you to consider voting for someone other than the Democrat and the Republican, unless you have a firm conviction. If you have a firm conviction, then please do. But I think by November, you're going to see that the money that is in politics, even on the state level, even on the governor's race, I expect you will be so tired of seeing Mike Ross and Asa Hutchinson commercials. No matter who you support, you'll be saying, I can't wait for this election to be over. Because it's not about positives anymore, it's about negatives, because that's what people vote for. But I'm the Green Party candidate. I appreciate your vote. And I would say something quickly about something I heard today. One of the candidates said, we really need a stand your ground law. And I think that's really not wise. And one of the problems I have with the Arkansas legislature is that so much time and resources, we talk about we need more money, so much resources is spent on passing laws that are unconstitutional or a bad idea. You make attorneys, well, I don't ever get any of this kind of money, but other attorneys get a lot of money challenging these laws as unconstitutional, but the legislature spends hours and hours and hours debating laws, and they pass laws as unconstitutional, and then it gets reversed, by the courts because it's against the Constitution, and it's just a waste of money. I think the particular stand your ground is a solution without a problem. In all my years of being an attorney, I've never seen a situation where there was only a stand your ground law that would have turned out differently. Prosecutors have discretion. But what I think it is bad is if Arkansas is going to have liberal gun carry laws, that's just the way it is, because that's what the people are going to vote for, whether you like that or not. We're going to have liberal gun carry laws. If we also have something like stand your ground, I think it's going to be a deterrent on businesses moving here. It's going to be a deterrent on tourism, and I think it's going to hurt us as a whole, because I think that's where our future is. We have a beautiful natural state in which people can enjoy, and people will come from all over the country to enjoy. And so I just want to say that, and thank you for taking the time to listen.
Okay, that ends the presentations. I will ask you to do this. Please, we're going to have to vacate this room like as soon as we can because they're going to make the word we've gone over, regardless of everything we've tried to do. We appreciate you being here. There will be another meeting, I was told, before the November election back here by the GGGG group. And we hope you had a good time and we're informed. Thank you.